Howdy folks, Sapper here. Just a really quick update. I wanted to kind of capture this one particular battle, just to give you a little walkthrough and illustrate, how detailed it can get, and why the game can tend to take a long time, because this is just one combat. So if you look right here, this is the hex that I'm going to be attacking. All right, we have this bridge right here that the Polish infantry are trying to destroy. There's a Strike 2 marker on it right now because I've been using, I think, aircraft and cruise missiles and stuff, and they haven't been effective. So if those infantry survive, they're going to go ahead and just demo the bridge by hand, which I think the die roll is a little bit easier to make. But they've attacked it several rounds in a row and still haven't been able to destroy it. So the units that the Russian units that are attacking came from this hex. So it is, let me put these guys up here. It's that unit there, and it's that unit there. All right, so there we go. Now we can see it. So these two units here are in this hex. So before we even do the actual ground unit combat, we have to determine the combat odds. So we have attack strength of 2 and an attack strength of 3. Because we're attacking over a major river, their values are halved. So that's 1.5 and 1. The 1.5 gets rounded up. So the attacking strength is 3. The defending strength is 2, plus I use this headquarters here, so the headquarters adds that little subscript 5. So it's their odds end up being 7. So the combat odds rounded down end up being 1 to 2. So far it's not looking good for the Russians. The Russians. There's no remainder. So the initial column that we're going to be looking at is the 6th column on the odds chart. And I'll show you all this when I'm done. Now we have to determine column shifts. So the lead unit for the Russians is this unit here, has an efficiency of 6. The lead unit here has to be this one because it's the only unit there. Their efficiency is a 5. I've already flipped them out. Let me flip them back over. All right, so the efficiency for these guys is a 5. So 6 minus 5 is 1. So that the Russians get a +1 column shift for that. They don't get any other column shifts. See, they get a column shift because, where is it? I want to say this artillery unit here supported. So the Russian artillery gives another column shift. So that is a total of 2 column shifts. So now we go to the CRT column move from a 6 to an 8. So we are on the 8 section of the CRT for flat woods. So we were here, and then with the 2 column shifts, we go to here. So we went from a 1 to 2 to a 1.5 to 1. All right, the next thing we need to do is we need to determine what kind of close support we wanted to use. So you can use helicopters, you can use aircraft. The attacker can use a maximum of 2 air units. The defenders can use a maximum of 1 air unit for close support. The attackers can use a maximum of 2 helicopters. The defenders can use a maximum of 1 helicopter. So the Russians decided to use these 2 close support aircraft. We have a total of 2 plus 3 is 5. And the Allies decided to use this A-10 with a rating of 4. Each of them also threw in 1 helicopter, which adds a +1. And we also, both sides decided to, or the Russians wanted to use cyber warfare, and the Allies defended. So the cyber warfare would give you a +1 column shift if it was successful. The cyber warfare was not successful. So there was no column shift given for cyber warfare. Both helicopters I rolled for detection. They were both detected, and subsequently both of them were basically their modifiers. Their +1 die roll was nullified by the results on the anti-aircraft artillery table. So we also rolled for detection for both sides. These strike aircraft, they were detected. They were not early detected. They did commit an interceptor, and the Allies also committed an interceptor to defend just in case they were early detected. Neither side was early detected, so they only were subject to the air defense fire. Neither side was affected by the air defense fire, so the SAMs were ineffective. So when all of that was said and done, the Russians ended up getting a +1 die roll modifier. And then we look at all the other die roll modifiers, and none of them applied. So when it was all said and done, we were rolling in the 8 column with actually a -1 die roll modifier. So it was a -1 because the Russians ended up having the advantage. So rolled an 8. We look on there. So all of that, and the defenders take a loss, and the attackers, actually, you know what? I did that wrong. The attackers take a step loss, and the defender took no loss. So, actually, I did have that right up here. So, he came out okay, and then this guy was flipped because you always take the losses from the lead unit. So, the Russians really needed to secure that bridge, and that's kind of why I decided to, kind of show that what it takes to, if you want to throw in air assets and artillery and cyber warfare and all that kind of stuff, sometimes things can take a while. So it didn't look good for the Soviets or the Russians, but we threw a lot into it, and it did not pay off. So we did not manage to even hurt that Polish unit there, so they're going to stay there for a while. And if you look right there, and if you also look right there, those bridges have been blown up. So, and that's why I moved this headquarters here, so that they can possibly bridge across that. I wanted to wait for the bridgehead to see what happened here. And now that that's failed, we'll have to see what we're going to do. These rivers really complicate things, make it definitely a lot harder. I think that's where the Allied strategy is you have to hold them at the rivers, because otherwise the Russians will just kind of steamroll through. But anyway, that's kind of the results of just that one combat. And luckily this isn't too dense of a map as far as, combat everywhere. So, yeah, but that combat probably took me a good 30 minutes to figure that out. But anyway, hope you all enjoy. Later.